If you're tired of planting things in a straight line and want to mix it up a little bit, you're in the right place. Right now, I'm joined by Tim Kiphart from Far South Nursery. We're going to be talking about all sorts of different plants that will work well in combination with one another. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and you've brought along a lot of terrific plants. We're going to start by talking about things that grow tall and at the back of the beds. And you've brought along a Golden Goddess bamboo. Tell me a little bit about it.
In today's building scheme, you know, lot size is shrinking so much that it's so important to have plants that scale up, and people still want privacy, still need something evergreen, but it can't overwhelm the landscape. So we've got a couple really nice bamboos, the Golden Goddess being one of them. It's about 8, 10, 12 feet if it gets really happy, and about that wide. But love the architecture. It has an upright, weeping, arching habit to it.
Very graceful form.
Very graceful.
And bamboos are tough as nails. And this one is a clumper, not a runner, so it will stay in a tight space, right?
All the bamboos we grow at Far South are clumpers. And so they do stay contained. And with that being said, you may have a spread of 1 to 2 feet a year on those. But very easy to maintain, very easy to remove canes, culms, as they're called. Very easy to control and contain.
No, bamboos like full sun, and I think they like a little bit of moisture.
A little bit more moisture, but are really actually quite adapted once acclimated. We have some planted in the ground out at Far South, and they've been in the ground for about 5, 6 years. Get little to no supplemental irrigation. What's nice about the multiplex, the 2 bamboos that we have here today, is they do take some shade. They actually prefer a little bit of afternoon shade or even bright woodland conditions.
Okay, so underneath a tree or something like that, you've got this one here, and everybody's looking for screening in the shade as well. You brought along another bamboo. This is Chinese Goddess?
Chinese Goddess.
Right.
Which, for all practical purposes, is just a smaller scale plant. Smaller leaves, finer leaves, thinner culms, a little bit shorter plant. Where Golden Goddess gets to be 10, 12 feet, Chinese Goddess comes in at 6 foot.
Which is a really good height for a lot of plants. And again, for that layering that you're looking for of tall, medium-sized plants, these two work well together.
Lovely.
All right. Well, you also brought in a bunch of Nolinas, which are one of my favorite plant families, and I want to dive in and talk about. One of them is new to me. It's Nolina or Nolina sibirica. And tell me a little bit about this. Initially, when I first saw it, I thought it was like an iris or something like that. It looks so lush and full.
It's a very unique plant. The Nolinas are all grass-like plants, so they give you that sort of texture.
Right.
We call this La Sibirica. It's the area in Mexico where it's from.
Okay.
Has a very nice weeping pendulous habit.
Right.
Dark green foliage, about 3/4 of an inch wide, will actually form a trunk over time, and unlike some of these other ones, is rather fast at doing it.
And I've heard they grow as tall as 20 feet.
In habitat.
Yeah.
In habitat, and those might literally be hundreds of years old.
Okay. Okay. Well, I won't wait for that.
Yep.
But boy, it's a gorgeous looking plant, and right next to it is an all-star. That's the Nolina texana, which is a lot of different names: beargrass, basket grass.
Beargrass, basket grass, Nolina. You know, indigenous tribes did use the fronds for weaving purposes, hence the name. The Texas beargrass or basket grass is one of our hill country natives. What makes it kind of unique is that bloom spike actually flowers within the foliage of the plant.
Interesting little bloom spike on it. And again, tough as nails, full sun, doesn't need much water at all, just as easy going as it could be.
Yeah, full sun, and even my dad lives outside of Bernie, and we have it in the garden in several places where it picks up just windows of sun throughout the day, and it is in primarily afternoon shade,
Oh,
and
okay.
does just perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's happy going.
Happy.
The Nolina Nelsoni is a stunner. You brought one of those as well. The coloration on this, my favorite. I love that pale gray-green color. Absolutely stunning.
It's hard to beat that color. It's so blue, and the fronds are so upright.
Yeah.
The architecture is fantastic. This is another trunk former, but it's slow. It's also a great option, as all of them, for containers.
Sure.
You
Very
need a
sure.
large container, but you could certainly expect Nelsoni to grow 4 feet by 4 feet.
Right, and it will make, all these plants will make beautiful counterpoints or foils to something soft and leafy like the bamboo or other kinds of tall growing plants. So it's a great foreground object, very sculpture in front of the looseness. So it's nice.
That's it, you know, and with the modern trend in architecture these days, all these plants lend themselves to that modern aesthetic, as well as the dryland aesthetic.
And they're real quickly, they're also pretty cold hardy and pretty friendly in the garden. It's not like a yucca with sharp ends. This is not something that you need to worry about your children with.
Yeah, all perfectly hardy, no issues with cold. You might watch the edges, the margins of the leaves. I've had paper cuts on more than one occasion,
grab
but
them, you're right.
something's not going to reach out and grab you back, though.
There you go. Well, you brought along a couple of different forms of agave, which again go perfectly with the plants we're talking about. The first one is the squid agave, which is so graceful looking.
It is. Squid agave is a very apt name for it. With age, it does throw the tentacles out.
Right.
Love it in containers, love it in the ground. You know, this one does pup up. What we have found, though, also is that it does best with at least a little afternoon shade.
Absolutely.
You know, I think you were mentioning
right.
that.
In my garden, it got a little sun scalded with too much afternoon sun. And it's, again, graceful plant, great low-growing plant. It will colonize, and it's, again, tough plant.
Tough as nails, 30 inches by 30 inches, 3 by 3, hardy to that certainly 10 to 15 degree range.
Right.
I think one thing worth pointing out with some of the agaves, even though they're hardy, is that if we're going to have precipitation, that sometimes it's best to go ahead and cover them, because that precipitation will freeze on the leaves and sometimes will scar the foliage.
Yeah, very smart advice. No, you have another agave, but I want to skip ahead. You brought something new that we've never talked about, and this is a eupatorium called Viburnum leaf eupatorium. It kind of blows me away, because I'm looking at it, I'm thinking it's just a viburnum. It's a woody shrub, but it's a very new introduction.
Pretty new introduction, certainly for us here in Texas. It is a Mexican species, and as you said, the foliage is reminiscent of a viburnum, and it is a woody mistflower or bone set. What I like about it is it's again, it's a smaller scale plant, 3 feet by 3 feet, evergreen, and then it is a fall-winter bloomer. So for us, we saw it bloom this year in November, December.
Great for the butterflies.
If there's any stragglers around, you know, and absolutely wonderful for the butterflies.
Well, it certainly looks like a viburnum with a nice gloss on the leaf. It looks like a terrific plant. Real quickly, growing conditions for this one.
Really not picky.
Okay.
Very tolerant of all sorts of growing conditions, all sorts of soils. Beautiful pinkish white flowers.
Sounds great.
A little bit of shade in the afternoon. Woodland conditions to full sun.
Real quickly, you brought along a sedum. Tell me about that as well.
My favorite sedum in the world, Sedum palmeri. Great for the front of a bed, super for a container. Blooms in February. Evergreen.
All right. Well, it's been a lot of fun on taking this little trip with you. Thanks so much for coming on board.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Okay. And coming up next, it's Daphne. you.